Welcome, and thank you very much for joining the final presentation of our Innovation Value Creation Wheel project. First, let me briefly share an overview of what the project has looked like. The main parties involved were, of course, the Value Creation Wheel course team, consisting of Professor Luis Lages and Carlos Marques, who guided us through the Value Creation Wheel over the past months, the team TB4, and the client, the Portuguese Naval School. By applying the Value Creation Wheel, we have concluded the challenge at hand to be how can the Naval School increase the number of qualified applicants. Through applying the further stages, the solution ideas were generated and ranked, and the final solution of improving online presence through leveraging TikTok was found to be the most suitable one. In the final phase, we've extended an implementation plan for the solution, which includes increasing manpower to 13 people, spend on average 53 hours a month on the solution, and finally invest approximately 14,500 euros per year. Now that we've had a brief understanding of what's going to be discussed, let's dive into more detail. Please let me introduce you to the team TB4, consisting of Carlos, Martin, Julius, and myself, Hester. Carlos is a fifth-year student at the Naval School and is part of the dual master program between the Naval School and Nova SBE. His inside position has provided us with a strong relationship with the Naval School as our client for this project. Now let's dive into the first phase. The goal in this phase was to analyze the external and internal environment of the client and define a validated challenge. To perform a comprehensive diagnosis, we've conducted the following sets of analysis. For internal, we've done a company analysis. In the hybrid form, we've done both a stakeholder analysis, SWOT, and TOWS analysis. And for external, we've done a Porter's 5 Forces, PASTEL, and 5C analysis. The Escola Naval, in English the Naval School of Portugal, is the institution responsible for the training and education of future officers of the Portuguese Navy. Established in 1845, it has a rich history and tradition of preparing naval officers to serve in various roles within the Portuguese Navy. The primary mission of the Naval School is to provide a comprehensive education and training program that equips its graduates with the knowledge, skills, and leadership qualities necessary to excel in the maritime domain. Located in Alfeite near Lisbon, the Naval School offers both graduate and postgraduate programs tailored to the needs of the Portuguese Navy. In addition to academic and practical training, the Naval School also emphasizes character development and instills core values such as discipline, integrity, and teamwork in its students. This holistic approach to education aims to produce well-rounded officers capable of effectively leading and serving the Portuguese Navy. The Naval School provides diverse opportunities for individuals seeking to pursue a career in maritime domains. They both offer bachelor's and master's degree programs tailored to various specialties. These programs cover the whole Navy operations, including specialized fields such as naval engineering, mechanical and weapons or electronic branches, and the naval administration. Additionally, they also offer integrated master's degrees such as naval medicine in collaboration with the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Lisbon. The current staff consists of 60 professors and 244 students, of which 212 are male and 32 are female. Now let's discuss in more detail the vision, mission, and values of the Naval School. Firstly, its mission is to be the benchmarking maritime school, an essential partner in research and teaching in postgraduate studies in maritime-related areas. Its mission is to be training Navy officers through completing courses and other complementary teaching activities, and its values are loyalty, discipline, honor, integrity, and bravery. Now, who are the most important stakeholders for the Naval School? Through applying the Power Interest Matrix, the Portuguese Navy, faculty and staff, parents and guardians of potential applicants, as well as platforms and forums for military careers, students/applicants, and finally high schools and other educational institutions were identified to be the most important stakeholders. To ensure the proper involvement of each of the stakeholders and yield the most fruitful outcome of this project, an involvement plan was created. The Portuguese Navy was involved through each of the phases, as we had continuous meetings with the Admiral of the Naval School, being the KDM for this project as well. Unfortunately, there was no direct contact possible with online platforms and forums, nor with high school institutions. So there we gathered and integrated input through online research and indirect expertises. Moving on, we have applied the Porter's 5 Forces analysis, a tool used to analyze the competitive dynamics of an industry. As a result, it was found that competitors, substitutes, and buyers were the most relevant forces for the Naval School. Competitors, consisting of other military branches and civil universities, substitutes, being the private sector offering employment, and finally buyers, being the potential recruits who have high power as there is a great variety of alternatives available for them. The next analysis done was the PASSEL analysis, another tool that is used to evaluate the external factors affecting an organization. This identified political, economic, and social factors to have the highest relevance for the Naval School. Political, consisting of government fundings and defense policies, for example. Economic, consisting of job market trends in the military sector. And finally, social, consisting of the changing perception of military careers. Moreover, the 5C analysis was performed to create a summative overview of the environment as a whole. It included all relevant insight gained from the previous analysis and allows for an accurate progress to the next step, being the SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis combines both internal and external analysis and leads to the identification of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The key insights were, among strengths, the Navy School's heritage and tradition. Amongst weaknesses, its recruitment and retention challenge, whilst amongst opportunities, it was found to be there the opportunity to expand postgraduate and civilian training programs, and amongst threat, it was found the low interest among youth in military service careers. Having conducted a SWOT analysis now allows us to take our analysis a step further. By combining these insights, we can uncover strategic options and actions. This process, known as the TOWS analysis, helps us to identify opportunities to capitalize on our strengths or address weaknesses to mitigate threats, for example. The most important findings were firstly a meeting point between opportunity and strengths, which was to utilize marketing to emphasize the school's deep cultural roots and community impact. Secondly, a meeting point between threats and strength, which was to promote cultural values to maintain interest in the military service. We have now concluded the diagnostic part. Building upon the insights gained in this part of the phase, we can continue to move on to the definition of the challenge. Underpinned by the decreasing number of applicants over the past 4 years, to a point where in the past 2 years only 60% of the required spots were able to be filled, the challenge is defined to be how can the Naval School increase the number of qualified applicants. The problem type is classified to be unknown, where the solution to this problem needs to be identified, which we will do through the application of the next step of the value creation wheel. To ensure the validity and relevance of our formulated problem description, we've answered the following 5 questions. Firstly, is it really a problem or challenge? And the answer is yes, because the number of applicants is significantly decreasing and the number of vacant spots is increasing. Secondly, how will the world and organization be without us solving the problem? Well, without improvement, the size, quality, and impact of the Navy officers will decrease, which eventually forms a risk for the safety of the Portuguese society. Thirdly, do you have access to the key decision maker who can validate the problem and implement the solutions? Yes, again, the key decision maker is the Admiral of the Navy School, and he has acknowledged the problem and is eager to solve it. Besides, his position, being the highest in the Naval School, allows him to have the valid insights and entitles him to make decisions and implement solutions. Fourthly, can we really involve the key decision maker in the value creation wheel process? The answer is yes. Besides his time commitment that he has to the project, he can share relevant insights into the feasibility and impact of the potential solutions and filters. Lastly, we've applied the cause and effect analysis to validate the root cause of the problem and its origin. This cause and effect analysis included a fishbone analysis, identifying all the factors that have a contribution to the low application rate. Amongst these factors were marketing and communication, financial factors, the program's attractiveness, policy and regulations, societal trends, and recruitment strategies. The most important factors that we feel like our project can have an impact on were identified to be marketing and communication and the recruitment strategy. Before continuing the project, we have analyzed to what extent there is support regarding the 3 M's: minute, money, and manpower, all of which we ranked 4 out of 5, concluding that we have sufficient support to continue. For Minute, we have the commitment of the KDM to be available us throughout the whole project. For Money, the KDM, being the admiral of the school, has the authority to provide any budget required. However, he has indicated to keep the budget as low as possible. And finally, Manpower, not only the KDM, but also the staff members of other departments have been asked to provide insight and support necessary. Our first objective is to increase the number of applicants applying to the Naval School by 10% in 2024, by 15% in 2025, and reach the required 500 applicants by 2026. Our second objective is to increase a point where the administration no longer needs to adjust the number of available spots based on the applications received. By 2024, we aim to limit adjustments to a maximum of 10% compared to the initial plan, followed by a reduction to 10% in 2025, and ultimately eliminate the need for adjustments by 2026. This demonstrates the successiveness of attracting candidates with the desired skills, qualifications, and aptitude to the naval training programs. Lastly, our objective is to, by the end of 2024, establish at least 2 metrics and benchmarks to monitor progress, evaluate the effectiveness of intervention, and allow for data-driven results and decisions to continuously improve the recruitment outcomes. We've now reached the final step of Phase 1, being defining the project key performance indicators. Defining KPIs will allow us to measure the effect and impact of our to-be-determined solution. We've defined 9 categories of types of KPIs. In the upcoming minutes, we will briefly discuss these categories and their aligning KPIs, but in Phase 5, we will go more into detail on all of these by evaluating to what extent we actually met the KPIs. The first category of types of KPIs is project team related, including mastery of the value creation framework by the project team satisfaction with collaboration dynamics, and alignment of problem solution outcomes with the project goals. The second category is the company outcomes related, including the Naval School's readiness to integrate the value creation wheel into the strategic planning and the satisfaction of the key decision maker with the final solution. The third category of KPIs is the company outcome related. This includes the value added versus resource invested in the value creation training and project, and the efficiency in resource usage post-value creation wheel training. The fourth is project input related. This includes agreement on resource allocation for the value creation wheel training, which are the 3 M's: manpower, minute, and money. The fifth category is project process related KPIs. These include adhere to the project timelines for the value creation wheel implementation phase, as well as the number of value creation wheel loops needed to arrive to the final solution. The sixth type of KPI category is project process related KPIs, which include the amount of internal and or external stakeholders' involvement. The seventh type of KPI category is project output related. These include 4 KPIs. Firstly, alignment of the proposed value creation wheel solution with the Naval School strategic goals. Secondly, the agility adaptability assessments in the communication department. Fourthly, the estimated increase in applicant numbers following strategic recommendations. And finally, the intention to replicate the value creation wheel in future situations and scenarios. The eighth type of KPI category is the application satisfaction. These includes 2 KPIs. Firstly, the survey-derived satisfaction scores from potential applicants after engagement with the new recruitment initiatives. And secondly, the increase in positive feedback on application process ease and information clarity. The ninth and final KPI category is the financial performance index. These include cost effectiveness of the proposed value creation wheel informed initiatives and project long-term financial savings from implementing consultancy recommendations. Furthermore, the project team aimed to integrate the UN SDGs into the project as much as possible. We indicated an opportunity to integrate SDG 4, 5, 8 and 13 and will focus on these throughout the further stages. Again, in Phase 5, we will evaluate to what extent we've been able to integrate these in the project and the solution, as well as how we did that. Finally, we committed to the 5 pillars of the value creation wheel, which ensure that the project was developed in a conscious manner and is supported by a world development vision. These 5 pillars include sustainability, common good, collaboration, wisdom, and transparency. This was all for phase 1. We will now move on to phase 2.
So, moving on to the phase 2, this phase has a task to generate the ideas and the filters by using the various forms of creative thinking and research, leaving out any form of evaluation. Both primary and secondary data are being integrated. Then, the ideas and the filter are being sorted into the poker method. However, those are further being sorted into must-haves and nice-to-have filters and are being ranked and weighted. The KDF involvement in this phase was able to giving us the inputs from the previous phase, and ideas are being based on their specific challenge. Moreover, during the kickoff meeting, the initial ideas were noted and integrated in the phase 2. In this phase, the KDM were highly involved. Our methodology was based on a deductive research. We looked for information, gathered ideas, create a benchmark and ask for input for the key decision maker to create an hypothesis. We used both primary and secondary research methods, include brainwriting and 635 method. Additionally, we conduct an interview with the KDM. On the other hand, we conduct an online survey among the current Naval School students and receive 145 responses. In this slide, we present the answers of the survey for actual students of the Naval School. And we can see that the answers are around all the 5 years present on the school, and the most relevant answer that we want to highlight is that the most of the people who are studying in the Naval School know about the school from family and friends, and almost anyone know about from the social media. Below is the benchmark we found, and we can identify some good practices to improve the social media presence of the competitors to the Naval School. On the left, we have the military academy that has a good website development, but they have lack of interactive information on their social media presence. So, the other hand, we have the the Aerial Force Academy for the Portuguese Armed Force. They have a good social media presence and they show some daily life routines on their reels. And on the other hand, we have the Naval Academy for United States that they have some open vision about all the academy. The activities are exposed on the YouTube channel of them and they have like a large social media presence and shares. Moving on through the idea development from the brainwriting 635 method survey answers and comparing with the benchmark, we decide to divide our ideas in 4 categories. The first one offering, the second one public image, targeting and application process. In the offering category, we have ideas like increase the salary, upgrade equipments and scholarships. In order to improve our public image, we plan to engage in partnerships, online branding and events. In targeting, we have ideas like increase the diversity of the target recruits, refine target criteria, and last but not least, in application process, we have ideas like lower application requirements, and yeah. To determine the potential filters, we use brainstorming and 635 method. This allows us to arrive at 4 different categories of filters. The first category is financial, with examples such as low implementation costs. The second category is the ethical filters, which focus on alignment with the organization. The third one is the relevance filters, with examples like stakeholder engagement or unique value creation. And the third one is the feasibility, which has examples like feasible for small teams, uh, community impact, measurability. So, moving on to the poker method applied to our ideas, and to limit these ideas and preserve the suitable of ones for the increase of the numbers of applicants, the poker method was employed in collaboration with the KDM of the Naval School. Each of the generated ideas was classified with kill, review, keep, and multiply. The poker method allowed us to retain 23 of 24 for further consideration. Moving on to the phase 3, and after filtering the ideas with the poker method in phase 2, we were able to gather all the selected filter and ideas. We were then able to attribute each filter and ideas in different groups. Finally, we ranked the compulsory filters and attribute a weight to each category of optional filters. The involvement of the KDM in this phase were presented on during a meeting with the KDM. We went through the ranking and weights attribution and adjust it to taking into consideration their insights and preferences. After applying the poker method in phase 2 and on an interview with the KDM, we decide to eliminate the ideas that are highlighted in red. In KDM opinion, these ideas are impossible for the Naval School and for the alliance with its strategy. The KDN lacks of authority to increase the salaries, provide sign-on bonus or scholarships, and to turn the traditional ways to teaching on the Naval School into alternative learning opportunities like remote one. All the filters were analyzed using the poker method as a tool for decision making. In collaboration with the KDM, we discussed the potential of each filter. The poker method allows us to retain 11 of the 21 filters for further consideration. With the KDM, we continue with those 5 must-have and the other 2 nice-to-have. So, moving on to the rank and weight criteria, and for the primary filter we decide to put increase applicant number expected. On the must-have are the low costs of implementation, the efficiency, the time efficiency, and the ability to test, and for final, the independent execution. And for the nice-to-have filters, we have the stakeholder involvement and the stable long-term solution. So now we are able to moving on to the phase 4, the narrow.
Now we're going to move on to phase 4 of the value creation wheel, starting with our value creation tunnel and then moving on to the concept and value proposition, as well as some prototypes that we created. Here's the first overview of our value creation funnel, including the must-have filters and our ideas. In the beginning, our ideas, after purifying the initial ideas, still ranged from promoting referrals, upgrading equipment, support retirement or family planning, as well as offering language training, hosting more open days, and all sorts of other ideas. So we could eliminate most of these ideas by applying our filters. The necessary filters included first, it needed to provably increase the number of applicants, since that was our primary goal in this project. We also were facing some budget and time constraints, and we wanted to be able to execute it independently as well as test and pilot the solution. Looking at the funnel chart of our must-have and now including the nice-to-have filters, once again, the first filter was to address the main challenge. We had some budget restrictions and time restrictions. In order to ensure a smooth consulting project, we did want independence from third parties or external partners, so we wanted to be able to execute our approach independently and also allow the Naval School to execute our approach independently. And finally, we wanted a short feedback cycle and quick iterations to improve fast, and that necessitated the ability to test or pilot the project. For the nice to have filters, we wanted to include internal stakeholders like students or teachers and other personnel, since we believe there is a lot of value to be added and creative input from those individuals. And finally, we wanted to ensure a stable long-term solution for the Naval School so that they can still use this approach and solution after a year or two without needing another social media consulting project or external input. The one idea that survived all of these filters was increasing the social media presence of the Naval School. And in order to do that, we are going to explain a little more about the concept and value proposition. Looking at the market of applicants to arrive at a more refined concept for our social media project, we first segmented the possible market of applicants. And looking at public research as well as a survey that we conducted among the students of the Naval School, we could identify 4 segments of applicants tied to their motivation and reason for attending the Naval School. The first group is about military aspiration and interest. So people whose main motivator is they are interested in the military, particularly the Navy, and they have aspirations to be part of that for the sake of being interested in the military and the Navy. The second group is focused on the financial advantages of studying through the Naval School, having low fees as well as partly taking over tuition for other programs or partner programs is important to this group, and they're focused on the economic part of studies. The third group we identified, we called Serving the Country, a group whose primary motivation for studying at the Navy School is a sense of purpose and serving their community and their country. And finally, the fourth group, which is kind of isolated here, is the group that we called Family Tradition. This group is studying at the Naval School mostly because they have family members or close friends who study at the Naval School. Now, this group is not included in our targeting because they don't need to be targeted. They are already being targeted by their family members and friends. And it would also be incredibly difficult to reach out to this group in particular or target this group in particular on social media. So the primary points around which our targeting will revolve is the group's military aspiration and interests, the group that wants to serve the country, the segment that is focused on low expenses, and all of these groups must be interested in a long-term commitment and long-term career. This is also out of the survey results, since the biggest advantage of studying at the Naval School was perceived to be the long-term security, and the biggest drawback of studying at the Naval School was the inflexibility due to the long-term commitment. Now, finally, we want to move on to the positioning of the Naval School in the market of applicants. On their website, they use the slogan, "Your future starts here." And similar to that slogan, the positioning around social media needs to emphasize the long-term security and commitment, since that is a filter for applicants. If they're not interested in a long-term commitment, they probably should not apply. The other things that should be emphasized are a sense of adventure as well as a sense of purpose. This can be done through various videos or interactive posts, and we're going to dive into that a little bit later. Now, when it comes to a more detailed concept, we relied on 4 sources of input: expert advice, current scientific literature and trends, as well as an internal and external survey. So the expert advice comes from Professor Filipa Rodriguez. She's a professor for HR management and leadership here at Nova SBE, and we had the opportunity to talk to her about this project. And what we want to stress is that we learned from that conversation that effective recruiting and social media recruiting is done through storytelling. Stories that resonate with potential applicants are highly important. This can be achieved through interviewing net promoters at the Naval School, students or teachers or other personnel. Ideally, the content would showcase their development and growth, long-term growth, different career paths that can be achieved through studying at the Naval School, and would also emphasize the purpose aspect of serving the community and the country and the public to effectively motivate potential applicants to apply. In addition to that, we need to make sure the application process itself is transparent and simple. Ideally, it would even be gamified, but the transparency and simplicity of the application process are the most important. Now, the current scientific literature we reviewed stresses that for a young Portuguese Generation Z, especially for women, it is highly important to have social values included in their work. This can be about the service to the community, the meaningful work that they do, or the relationships and the community that they build along their career. Now, the channels used for these messages, also according to current scientific research, should utilize technology and digital media, particularly social media, to adapt to the Gen Z's habits of communication and consuming content. And finally, the focus on openness and diversity, inclusivity, and lifelong learning and development and growth is also incredibly important to the younger generations and should be considered when creating content for social media. Now, I want to focus on our internal and external surveys a little bit. The internal survey, which was sent to 146 students of the Naval School, Naval Academy, concluded that social media and online advertising for the Naval School and recruiting is lacking dramatically. So most people, almost 3/4 of the current students, started their studies at the Naval School through family or friend referrals. So people who did not come into contact with the Naval School through online channels, but rather their family and friends. The biggest advantage of studying at the Naval School is perceived to be the long-term security and long-term opportunity. And the biggest drawback simultaneously is perceived to be the lack of flexibility, which also goes hand in hand with the long-term nature of studying at the Naval School and having a career at the military. Now, the external survey that we did was basically asking non-Naval School students about their perception. And although most of the participants knew about the Naval School, they did not know a lot of detail about the Naval School. Medicine is the least known program, so people often don't know that you can study medicine at the Naval School. But a lot of other people also don't know any of the other programs, so no detailed knowledge about the Naval School. Reasons for not studying at the Naval School, when we asked, included the lack of information, the seemingly better options like Civil University or even other military academies like the Air Force or the Army. Now, considering all of this, we have derived an approach and an integrated system to utilize social media, particularly TikTok, to increase awareness and interest in the Naval School and directly convert those interested people into applicants through a newsletter. So basically, the way the process would work is that content is uploaded on TikTok and made for TikTok, ideally, repurposed and re-uploaded to other social media platforms like YouTube or YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels as well. And basically, we're going to dive into the specifics of the content in a little bit. But after the awareness and interest is increased, the social media accounts should include a link to a landing page for a newsletter. We've already prototyped the website for this, and essentially you can see it on the laptop screen in the lower half of the slide. It is simply a quick registration form where users can put in their email, and then they will be notified via email of all important dates, events, and some tips and tricks for their application. And then finally, that newsletter would be designed and published around the application timeframe, and potential applicants would be reminded as well as given some resources to optimize their application. So what kind of content would actually work best to attract applicants? So Portuguese Gen Z are highly interested in vertical short format videos on the before mentioned platforms like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, etc. And the videos should also be versatile and applicable across platforms. According to our internal and external survey, the most popular or most interesting video formats for potential applicants would be showing casual day-to-day videos like showcasing equipment or training, etc. Interviewing students and teachers, particularly if possible, telling a resonating story of growth and development, and also very interesting interactive content. This can be quizzes or polls or other kinds of interactive content that actively engage the users. Now there are two other very important aspects that I want to get into a little bit. The first is that students should be utilized for the social media content and outreach. As you can see here on the left side, there are two screenshots and one video that the Naval School posted to their Instagram account, and they're all very professional and horizontal, high quality, longer format videos. These videos are fine and they're ideal for websites like YouTube or the Naval School's own website and can also be posted to social media. However, to engage young potential applicants more effectively, we would recommend the short video format content, which can also include the students themselves. You can see it on the example, in the example on the right. There are two TikTok posts from students of the American Naval Academy, and they also drive engagement and awareness of this path online and across social media platforms. Different formats can be utilized here, such as interviews, one student interviewing another, following current trends on social media, and also creating interactive content like polls or quizzes. And they would be a great way to engage the current students, build a community with potential future students, and maybe they could even involve alumni. The last point I want to stress is the versatility of the existing content, particularly the past stories that were posted to the Instagram account of the Naval School are easily repurposed for other platforms. As long as they are highlights or past stories, they will not show up in people's feeds, they will not show up in people's algorithms, and will therefore generate less exposure of the Naval School to the public and to the community. And these videos are a great resource to start to test and pilot, post to other platforms, and see how the engagement is going. So particularly the Instagram stories can be repurposed for other social media accounts and other platforms.
Now we're coming to phase 5, where we talk about the 3 M's, our KPIs, and the implementation and control. And I want to mention very quickly that we decided to not include the business model because the Naval School is not a for-profit company, and we believe it's not really adding value here if we would add it. Now we're coming to the 3 M's, and first of all to the manpower. So what we decided on is adding 1 more intern and 2 student ambassadors to the team. And we believe that this is a huge value add to the team because the student ambassadors really know what's currently trending, and they will probably have really good ideas when it comes to content creation. So we want to add 2 student ambassadors at all times and probably on a rotational basis. So these students will change in a while, and we will always get new content ideas from these students and probably also recordings from these students. Very quickly to the minute. So we believe if we want to successfully implement our solutions, we believe that we have to invest around 53 hours per month. On the left side, you can really see which position has to invest what time, and if you want to have a closer look, you can just have it and see on the left side. So we pretty much calculated it on a monthly and weekly basis. Now, very interesting to the investment. So we believe we can implement this project with an investment of €0. But on the other side, we believe that investing 14,500 would lead to the perfect results. So I will go quickly through it. So first of all, the content creation resources. We believe you can always just use your phone, for example, for content creation on TikTok. it's common practice and so many people are doing it. But if the Naval School wants, they can invest up to 5,000 euros in the first year for better equipment. And also the training and development, I will talk about it later, but we also wrote a handbook that's already a very good training. But if they want, they can of course invest more to get better results maybe in the end. Analytics tools, it's the same. And paid advertising, I believe would be a huge value add, because only focusing on organic marketing can always be a little bit risky, but they actually don't have to do it if all this organic marketing works in a way that we propose it. And now to the influencer partnerships, we believe they could do it, but this is really optional because influencer would have to come to the military academy, and you really have to think about it. If you want to do it, what's the audience of this influencer? So you really should think about what you do here. Now we're coming to the KPIs that will show us if our project was successful or not. And first of all, to the project team related ones. They're also very interesting. So first one is the mastery of the VCW framework by the project team. And we were coming to every lecture on Monday. We really thought about it at home. We were watching the YouTube video. So we believe now to this point, we really mastered this framework. The second one is the team satisfaction with collaboration dynamics. And we were just talking about that 2 hours ago. We really learned how to communicate effectively. We enhanced our collaboration at all times, so this is also a green one. Now, the alignment of problem solution outcomes with project goals. This is also a green one because the outcomes definitely matched the goals that we were talking about right in the beginning. Now to the company outcomes related ones. First of all, the Naval School's readiness to integrate the VCW into their strategic planning. And we were talking about that also with the KDM. And this is definitely a green one because the Naval School is really ready to do it and they really like the VCW. Now to the satisfaction of the KDM with the final solutions. So the KDM was really excited about our solutions and he wants to implement as soon as possible, already for this year's application cycle. This shows that he was extremely satisfied with our results in the end. Now we are still at the company outcomes related ones. Now we're going to the value added versus the resources invested in VCW training and projects. So, of course, the company was investing a lot of time. We had weekly meetings with the KDM, with the Admiral of the Naval School. But we believe that the value we created is so high and that it will enhance the social media strategy of the Naval School by a lot. So this is definitely also a green one. Now we're coming to a KPI that is not yet calculable. So it's the efficiency in resource usage post VCW training. So we do everything that this will become a green one in the future. So we have implementation KPIs, for example. We have our handbook for the implementation phase. So we really believe that this will become a green one in the future, but it's just not measurable yet. Now to the project input related ones. The agreement on resources allocated for the VCW training, especially the 3Ms. And this was pretty easy to discuss with the KDM, so this was also a green one. Now to the project process related ones, the timelines for the VCW implementation phase, we can not talk about it yet. So we also believe this will be a green one in the future, but it's just not measurable yet. But as I said, all our implementation guidelines and KPIs will ensure that this will probably become a green one as well. Now to the number of VCW loops needed to arrive at the final solution, we only needed one, so this is also a green one for us. The next project process related KPI is the amount of internal and external stakeholder involvement, and we believe that this one is definitely a green one. So we were talking with the Nova SPE HR professor, we conducted surveys with the students of the Naval School, we even talked about the topic with a lot of students at Nova SPE, why they are studying at Nova SPE and, for example, not at the Naval School. And we, of course, had weekly meetings with the KDM, with the Admiral of the Naval School. So this is definitely also a green one. Now to the project output related ones. The first one is the alignment of the proposed VCW solutions with the Naval School's strategic goals. And in the end, we also believe that this is also a green one because our social media strategy aligns with the strategic goals of ensuring valuable education of the Naval School. Now to the agility adaptability assessment in the communication department. This is actually not one of the most important ones. We believe that this is only a yellow because the Naval School is a very conservative company, and really an adoption to fully agile practices is not possible here. Now to the estimated increase in applicant numbers following strategic recommendations. So this is also not yet measurable, but we believe that our social media strategy will be successful. The next one on this slide is the intention to replicate VCW in future situations and scenarios. And actually the KDM was very confident in doing that in the future, and the Naval School, they really liked how everything worked. So maybe in the future there will be another project with the Naval School. The applicant satisfaction KPIs cannot be measured now, but in the future. And it's all about what the applicants say about the new recruitment initiatives and what's their feedback about the application process and information clarity. And we believe that these ones will be green in the future as well, because we will be transparent about the application process in our videos. Now to the financial performance index. So first of all, the cost effectiveness of the proposed VCW initiatives. They are very cost effective. As I was talking about it already, they can be free, so you can implement all these solutions for free, but you can invest these 15,000 euros if you want. But we believe this is definitely a green one as well. And now to the projected long-term financial savings from implementing the consultancy recommendations. This one cannot be measured now, but we believe that this will be also a green one because they, for example, don't have to invest in marketing agencies. They can do all their producing in-house of the videos. Now very quick also about the UN SDG goals. We were also talking about how our solutions influence these kind of metrics. So first of all, the SDG 4, the quality education. Because of our initiative, more people will apply at the Naval School and will also get quality education. So this is also a green one. Now to SDG 5, the gender equality. We were talking about in the prototyping phase that we also want more women to apply. So we will, for example, have a Women Month in content creation. I will talk about it later. And the SDG 8, the decent work and economic growth. So more people will have a great job at the Naval School. So this is also a green one, especially also in a sustainable job. The SDG 13, we really don't have a huge impact on climate action with our project, so there's not really an impact, so we made it a yellow one. Now to the implementation phases. So we believe that 4 phases will make the implementation successful. So first of all, we have the foundation and the familiarization phase. So this is pretty much the phase where they train the employees in the communication department, where they try to read everything about TikTok, about the algorithm, how everything works, and brainstorm video ideas, and also use the book that I will talk about later. Then we come to the initial rollout phase. It's pretty much, this phase is through the first application cycle. So the first video will be uploaded at the end of May, and then we have to upload a lot of videos for this year's application cycle. And we also want to start the newsletter in this phase. In the next phase, the assessment and enhancement phase is all about analyzing the initial rollout phase. It's all about analyzing the results from the last phase and just keeping uploading videos so that we will achieve 10,000 followers until the end of this year. In the full scale activation phase, this is the application cycle next year. It's all about using all the learnings from all the other different phases, use the video ideas that work, that were viral hits on TikTok, use the content forms that really work on TikTok, and just be successful in this phase and upload the best possible videos for the next year's application cycle to get as many applicants as possible. And also in this phase, we hope to achieve 1,000 newsletter subscribers that then hopefully also apply at the Naval School. And just to make sure that everything works here, we have different KPIs for every phase, just to make sure that the implementation phase will be a success. So, for example, in the first phase, one KPI is the number of team members that trained on the TikTok best practices, or the number of strategic planning sessions held to integrate TikTok insights. In the second phase, the KPIs are, for example, the number of TikTok videos created and posted, the engagement rate, of course, and the follower growth. In the third phase, the KPIs include the number of strategic adjustments made based on phase 2 analytics. So as I was talking about, if a video is doing great in phase 2, we want them using them in the next phases as well. Then, of course, increase the average watch time of TikTok videos. This is very important to be successful on TikTok. So this is also a KPI that we want to achieve. And then the percentage improvement in engagement rate from phase 2. Also, in phase 4, very, very quickly, of course, the number of leads generated and the conversion rate, very, very quickly here. And also what will be very, very important in the implementation phase is the book that we wrote. So we have a lot of experience in social media. Me, for example, I have advised several international companies on social media issues. I also created videos with them. I have 250,000 followers on my own. So it was pretty easy for us to write a book with all the best practices, with video ideas and so on, how the TikTok algorithm works. And this is something very, very nice for the Naval School. They can always come back to this book and try to learn from it and use it for their content creation. And for example, what's in this book is 100 video ideas, more than 100 to be specific, all the best practices, how to build a community. And this really makes the implementation successful. We are very confident in that. In the last part of our presentation, I want to talk about the content planner that we developed and that will ensure that the implementation will be successful again. So first of all, this content planner is from May this year to April next year. And the first thing we did is decided on which month are the most important, in which month we have to upload the most. And as you can see in the right corner, the green ones are the ones where we want to upload daily. So starting at the end of May, where we want to start with the videos, we want daily videos in June and July, of course, because these are the most important months, because in this month the application phase actually is. Then, of course, August to November will not be so important because the next application phase is in the future, in pretty much 1 year later. So the December again, we thought about a nice advent calendar video, so here daily uploads as well. And then starting in the next year from February, March and April, then uploading more and more and more just to prepare for the next application phase. And what we also did is writing down all the important dates for the Naval School, and every dates where it will be very, very easy for the Naval School to get content. And you can see that we have different topics also in every month. For example, in June, an application guide where to be transparent about the application process and to get more applicants, of course. And as I was talking already about in the SDG goals, women are also very, very important to the Navy, and diversity is getting more and more important to young people in Portugal. So what would be very, very nice would be a Women in Navy month to celebrate Women's History Month in March, for example. This is also one thing we were thinking about. And this was pretty much our project. I really hope that you liked our proposed solutions, and thank you very much for watching our video.